Hello everybody and welcome to the finals of Season 2 of Fight a Subscriber. 12 subscribers have sent me a craft which has fought valiantly against my own, and now only 4 remain. Let's go and meet them. First up, we have the Pip drone by Dylan Norton, the only drone in today's finals. Now, this was one of the season's surprise packages, and its clever use of AI meant that it did very well against my own fighters. Next up, we have the SU-27 Flanker by John Evans, a beautiful rendition of the real-life flanker, and a craft which just snuck into the top 4 at the last minute, sadly displacing our reigning champion Juna Moose. Next up, we have the F-54 Kaiser by Kaizen65. Now, this is a craft with a lot of pedigree behind it, and it's easily the most manoeuvrable of today's 4 craft. And finally, we have the F-15C Eagle by Daniel Garcia, which took a lot of people by surprise, myself included, by just absolutely obliterating my own craft. Just before we get down to the fights, there's one final bit of business we need to take care of. Now, the whole idea behind Fight a Subscriber was that subscribers send me a craft and I fight them, and then later on we had the idea to do a knockout final, but before we get to that, I think it's only fair that we declare a winner of that original challenge. So if we bring up the leaderboard, we can see that the craft that did the best against my own is the F-15C Eagle. So congratulations to Daniel Garcia and to his F-15, who are our challenge champions for this season. And now we have to go and see who our knockout champion will be. Will it be like last season? Will we get a double champion, or will someone else take that crown? Who knows? Let's go and find out. So this season we're doing the semi-finals a little bit differently. Last season they were allotted randomly. This season I'm using a format I've seen done in some competitions where you have a knockout round following some kind of qualifying competition. So we are doing first against fourth and second against third for our semi-finals. So we start with our second placed craft against our third placed craft. That is the F-54 Kaiser against the SU-27 Flanker. Let's get this one started. And so the fight starts in earnest. Interestingly, both of these craft are using the Panther afterburning jets rather than the Saturns, which have sort of become popular this season. And in the comments, the consensus seems to be that the Saturns are much better and will see your craft perform better, but both these craft solid finalists, and yet both using the Panthers, so Anyway, missiles going back and forth. It doesn't appear as if any of those craft are going to fall to that first volley. Interesting to see how many 4 missiles a target for the Kaisers. Just 1 apiece for the flankers. Now that will mean that the Kaisers run out quicker. And if the SU-27s manage to survive those initial waves, they may have the advantage. They may be able to keep the Kaisers on the ropes a bit better. Missiles still going back and forth. That looked like an explosion very close to one of the craft. But no, that is one of the SU-27s taken out by a missile kill. How are the Kaisers? Jebediah Kerman's craft heavily damaged by that missile. May not be a very effective fighting machine, but might be able to provide some distraction to those SU-27s. No, one of the other Kaisers has gone. That's the SU-27 crashing into the ground. Where's that other Kaiser? There's a gunfight going on over there. Daffy Kerman's Kaiser is damaged in a joust. Tries to come around. That is... What is that? That's the remains of that, I can't quite see that properly. Yeah, that's the remains of that other Kaiser. It looks like it must have been a missile kill. Daffy Kerman could get a quick revenge kill. The Kaiser's damaged but not out. The SU-27's in slightly better condition. Rowena Kerman launches a pair of missiles. That looks like an explosion that came very close, but Rowena Kerman survives. Debris crashing to the ground. It's anyone's fight at the moment, but it does look like the SU-27s have an advantage. Who was that? That was one of the other Kaisers. Jebediah Kerman's previously somewhat damaged Kaiser is now a very damaged Kaiser could still provide a distraction, allow Daffy Kerman to maybe get a quick revenge kill, but it is not looking promising. Daffy Kerman popping some countermeasures, but to no avail, and Jebediah Kerman's craft will soon be crashing to the ground. So it is victory for the Su-27 flankers. A mixture of gun and missile kills there. But anyway, we've got a lot of fights to get through. Let's move on to the next one. So our second semi-final will be first placed against fourth. We have the F-15C Eagle, our challenge champion, against the Pip drone. Let's get them into the air. And so here we go with the second semi-final. Both craft by default try to climb to a very high altitude. Now this could be interesting as to how this affects things, because the Pip drone was really the first craft we've seen coming into this competition that was designed around a very specific strategy. And a lot of that strategy revolves around them sort of being able to climb very high and get the drop on their opponents, but that is not going to be the case here. So how will they fare against a craft that is deploying, in the relevant aspects, a similar strategy to their own? This Pip drone breaking very low. None of the Pip drones have deployed their missiles so far. Two of them just came very close together. I've got a flash of one of them on my screen, and now the F-15C Eagles are looking to turn around and acquire their targets. Let's switch to one of the Eagles here. Bill Kerman trying to come in. I think that's both Jebediah and Bill in that craft, only you can't see Jebediah's face because of the radar. The F-15C Eagles seem to be a bit slow to acquire their target. I think they have a floor, a floor below which they won't travel. So that's maybe not the best way to set up your aircraft, because they seem to be having a little bit of difficulty actually getting any shots away at the Pip drones, although the Pip drones do seem to be straying a little bit higher, and that is causing them to come under some fire. This is a weird fight already. Daffy Kerman looks to acquire a target though, and looks like she has done suitably. Gunfire raining in. Has selected her Vulcan. Gunfire going in there from one of the F-15 Eagles. That was an explosion. I think Daffy Kerman took some damage there. Richmore Kerman stuck to the tail of this Pip drone. That single Vulcan cannon though not finding its mark. Will have to break off. No kills so far after that madcap first fight. Things seem to be going quite slowly here. What's that? That is debris from one of the Eagles. Oh yes, we saw that earlier. One of the Eagles got a bit scorched, but is still flying okay. Now Daffy Kerman's craft tries to lay guns into one of the Pip drones, which seems to be spinning out a bit. Does some damage though. Doesn't look to be anything fatal. Gets very close. That might be a bit more problematic for that Pip drone. Has lost one of its wings and will find things very difficult to control. Not the most manoeuvrable craft in this competition, far from it, but as I said, that strategy seems to have worked well for them, at least in the qualifying round. But it looks like this Pip drone is doomed to an early exit. More gunfire going in. One of the Pip drones now, as this Pip drone is finally shredded by a Sidewinder. One of the Pip drones though did seem to be putting guns onto one of the F-15s. But with their lack of manoeuvrability, they will find it hard to keep a target in their sights. F-15s still themselves struggling to acquire and lay guns onto any of their targets. This pit drone seems to be flying without being troubled by the F-15s. A missile coming in now, though. Where is that other F-15? There it is, over there. Missile comes in for that pip drone there, does not do any damage. Another one comes flying in, a missile comes in. Rids this pip drone of all its control surfaces, and that other pip drone gets shredded. And without any real controllability, and with 3 angry F-15 Sea Eagles on its tail, I don't think it's going to be long for this pip drone, although it looks like it will try to make a fight of it. A missile is coming in. It still does have some... Does it have countermeasures? It still does have some countermeasures. But it's not enough. And we're just left with the drone core falling slowly into the oceans of Kerbal. So the pip drone did extremely well in its qualifying round, but unfortunately the strategy that worked so well for it there has not done so well for it here. Let's move on to our next fight. So our third fight is our third place playoff and sees the Kaisers up against the pip drones. Let's get this one started. Here we go then, the single-engined pip drone, the single Panther-engined pip drone, which has done astonishingly well to get this far, but has sadly fallen in its semi-final, where it couldn't use that tactic as I was saying. How will it get on against the F-54 Kaiser? I would certainly say the Kaiser is the more traditionally capable craft, but of course that's no guarantee, as we've seen throughout this series. Missiles flying back and forth, one coming in for this pip drone. Looks like it'll probably go sailing harmlessly past, and it does. Those Kaisers still a fair distance away. Another missile comes in. Nothing doing this time around. More missiles rain in. Those Kaisers do have that tactic set up where they will rain in missiles early and often, and one of the pip drones is obliterated already. So an early kill for the Kaisers. Jebediah Kerman now coming in, trying to put some missiles, and shortly should be some guns onto that pip drone there. The missile doesn't seem to have done anything. One of the other pip drones is gone. We'll stick with Jebediah Kerman. Jebediah Kerman breaks off. One of his wingmen is coming in. Is that the debris? Oh, that is a lot of damage. No, that's not the debris. That was this pip drone there, which has been stripped of its air intake and will now fall to the ground helplessly. Continues to be stripped of parts by the Kaisers. No doubt pretty irritated about their semi-final exit. The drone corps still trying to fly this in some way, but no such luck. So the third place craft of today is the F-54 Kaiser. Perhaps a little unlucky in its semi-final, but does get some consolation. But now we move on to the final. And so we find ourselves here in the final. The two real-life craft recreations going up against each other. The F-15 Sea Eagle against the Su-27 Flanker. America versus Russia. There was some friendly trash talking in the comment section of the last episode between John and Daniel, so maybe it was just fated to be this way. Regardless, for one final time this episode, for one final time this series, let's get them up into the air. And the competition begins. And this is going to be an interesting one. The F-15s once again adopting their tactic of flying high. They managed to get their volley off first, and it doesn't look like Valentina will be able to get an early volley of her own away, which could be problematic if any of the Su-27s manage to get a volley away. It doesn't look like it. They're just breaking low and popping chaff. So the Su-27's on the ropes quite early, but I think they are capable of turning this one around. Valentina Kerman looks like she was going to lose a missile, but no, has to break low again. Shouldn't be troubled too much by these missiles. One of them looks like it's coming a bit close. But in the end, no, they both go flying past her tail. Those F-15 Sea Eagles closing the distance, but of course they don't like to drop below 2,000 feet, which might give the Su-27s an advantage. The game pauses. One of the Su-27s has been forced into the ground. And it is advantage Eagles. But of course we've seen things turned around from this position before. Not from 3-1 down, but certainly from 3-2 down. So it'll be interesting to see how these craft manage with that. The Su-27s still both carrying a full load of missile. Shawnee Kerman's Su-27 has taken some damage. I assume that's from a missile kill. There's not many, can't see an F-15 in close vicinity or trying to follow up on that. So Valentina Kerman in the only healthy Su-27 trying to lay guns and a couple of missiles onto one of the F-15s. As Shawnee Kerman's Su-27 crashes into the ground. It is 3 against 1. As I said, no craft has ever come back from being 3-1 down, but it will be a hell of a time to break that record. Valentina Kerman loses another missile. That one looks like it went close. But nothing doing this time around. Valentina Kerman, oh my word, what was that? That was one of the F-15s. It looks like it was hit by a Sidewinder launched by one of its teammates. Oh, Valentina Kerman gets scorched. Seems to have avoided most of the serious damage. Let's see if we can see that damaged F-15 Eagle. Daphne Kerman's Eagle is in a sorry state. Has lost both its air intakes courtesy of one of her wingmen, and yeah, it is distracting Valentina Kerman at the moment though, which is probably not the best move. Tries to line up the shot, has to pop some countermeasures. Missiles incoming. Effectively 2-1 now, although, as I said, that crippled F-15 is distracting Valentina, so managed to avoid that missile, though. Has been scorched, but as I said, doesn't seem to be anything fatal at the moment. Comes around. I think that crash was the F-15. Nope. Still going. Some of the debris crashing into the ground, that must have been the explosions we were hearing. Has now managed to get behind both the F-15s, so Valentina is perfectly placed to get a quick revenge kill. Can she level it up? Astonishingly and improbably. That F-15 seems to be trying to pull some evasive manoeuvres, but it's only making it an easier target. Oh my word, I think Valentina has managed to shred that F-15. Nope, it's still flying. Has lost a lot of control surfaces, but Bill and Jebediah's craft is still in the air. Damage rains in now, though. Oh, Valentina. It was looking so promising for a moment. It was looking so promising. But it was sadly not to be. And the F-15 Eagles are today's double champion. Look at the state of that. Ah, good old Jebediah still flying though. Yeah, let's go wrap this one up. So we have a new champion. Not only that, but as I said, a new double champion. Another one. So congratulations to Daniel Garcia and to the F-15C Eagle. A revised version of the craft which came last in Season 1. My huge thanks to Daniel and also to John, to Kaizen65 and to Dylan for all the craft that took part in today's final, and a massive thank you to all of you who sent craft in for Season 2 and helped make this the massive success it has been. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was Season 2 of Fight a Subscriber. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, maybe even following me on Twitter. I'll put a link down below. Yes, the craft have already started to roll in for Season 3. I've got about 12 or 13 of them so far, so I suppose I'd better do that at some point. Obviously, there'll be a break between this season and the next, and there'll have to be some change in the format given the amount of craft we'll have to get through, but the basic idea will remain the same. If you'd like your craft to be one of the ones I fight, then the details will be in the description. Once again, a huge thank you to everybody who sent in a craft. Once again, massive congratulations to Daniel Garcia, and finally, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.